Hi, my name is Anthony Snow, and I'll be talking about why the PS4 is no longer the console to get. I will be talking about why the processor and the graphics is behind Xbox now, and why Xbox is now the console to get. When you are looking to spend a couple $100s on a game console, you want the best one, or at least the most bang for your buck when it comes to games, because the graphics and the RAM and the frame rates, you want to be ahead of everyone. So you're not lagging behind in like multiplayer or whatnot. I will say the most bang for your buck is what you would want. Uh, I was started out by a quote from Xbox at the E3, I believe, in 2017, when they have the press conference and show the new Xbox or the new updates or news. They said the quote introducing the most powerful console in the world. And I think this is still true even a year later, because there is no console out right now that is still as powerful or better than the Xbox One S. And especially for the cost of the S, you would want to have the best console in the world if you're paying that much. When a person plays video games, I think the main idea is to feel in control, basically, to be like a team leader or lead a whole squad or do something that you wouldn't do in normal life. Something that's impossible, like have $1 million in GTA 5 or so on and so forth, being on a different planet or taking over a planet or creating something new, such as in Minecraft, building new stuff that people have never seen before, that's unique. Uh, the reason I have chosen this topic is because I have studied it for a long time, and I've had both consoles, the PS3, the PS2, PS4, and the PS4 Pro, Xbox One, Xbox One S, and the X. So I've had my fair share of all the game consoles and their user interface themselves, and I would say that I'm not biased towards either one because they each bring something new, uh, such as the interface on the PlayStation is simpler to use. You got a row of icons instead of Microsoft having tons of ads or tons of stuff on the first page where it's hard to concentrate. I would say it really depends on the person because you can customize the Xbox a lot more than the PlayStation, such as like comparing it to iPhone and Android, where you can do tons of stuff to an Android device, but Apple has a lot of security features on their device to where you can't bypass their software and stuff like that, so you can't really customize it to how you would like. So I will begin talking about what the PS4 and the PS4 Pro version has inside the box and what comes with it, basically. I will say that the history of the PS4 started in 1988 when Sony and Nintendo came together to make something called a Super Disc, which is basically the disc that we have today, like a CD disc. This was never made, but Sony came out with a different version, a modified one, in 1991, which was basically the PlayStation that used a disc. So the next thing I'll be talking about is the things inside of a PS4 and the Pro version, because there's two different kinds now. The Pro isn't the PS4 5. It's just a midway console, so it has updates and better stuff until they release the 5, I would think. Uh, the PS4 was definitely a big step towards gaming and stuff because it came out for 1080p, this resolution with video games and good frame rates compared to the Xbox One. But the Pro version now has 2160p instead of 1080, which is basically 4 times the resolution of 1080. So you're definitely getting crisp pictures and very good colors. It also has HDR, so you're getting high dynamic range. You can see further in the game, and it just looks more realistic. It's what you're paying for. The processor is an 8-core, 2.1 gigahertz processor. So this would be in the PS4. and I believe that's the Pro. The PS4 Pro would have that, actually. The Pro also has 4.12 teraflops, so that's a lot. It's basically, PC would call it something else, but the game console world calls it teraflops. And it has 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM, which is a lot. It's basically like multitasking. So if you open up GTA 5 and then you want to go into like Netflix, it can go straight into Netflix. And if you want to go back to GTA 5, it opens up where you left off, basically. So you really want RAM so you're not refreshing games, because it takes a while on a game console, depending on what you have and the resolution that your TV has, because the more pixels, the more time it has to push out those pixels, and the more power it needs. This is in the Pro model, so you definitely want that high RAM in the 4K resolution, because it's using more power and stuff like that, and you don't want to get a frozen game screen like in multiplayer, because you don't want to die from a frozen screen. The PS4 Pro has an extra layer than the PS4, so it's a little bit bigger than the PS4, which some people don't like, because if it's a new console, you think it'd be smaller than the last gen and less weight, because they make more improvements. I think that it would make sense that this one's a little bit bigger, just because it is pushing out 4 times the resolution and whatnot, and it comes with high dynamic range. This console, though, does not have a 4K Blu-ray player built in, which a lot of people did not like, because this console is $400. And Sony did make Blu-ray, so everyone was expecting it to be in their console. And I'll get further down into that down the road, because all the content is now coming out with 4K, so you want the newest DVD player to stream 4K. 4K discs do cost more, a good amount more, for people that really want that crisp picture. I've seen it in Walmart and stuff, where an HD movie can cost $20, which is 1080p, and a 4K can be $10 more. So that can be a big difference for some people if you really want that picture, or if it doesn't matter for you, really, or if you're like streaming. I would say the Pro is a very good price. It has a lot of power for $400. It does come with a lot of stuff. I mean, the RAM is there, and it does upscaling 4K, so it's not native 4K, like true 4K, but it does a good job on making it look 4K with the RAM it has and stuff, such as the new games that come out like Tomb Raider, and trying to think of all the PS4 exclusives. Far Cry, that one looks great on the PS4 Pro. If you really look into the detail and put a PS4 and a PS4 Pro together on 2 different TVs, you can see the difference in color and all that, depending on your TV as well. So now that I've talked about the PlayStation, I will now consider the Xbox, which is its competition mostly, besides Nintendo, but I think that's for a separate market. The Xbox One S is the one that is the most powerful console in the world right now, that was showed last year at the E3 conference, and it comes with tons of stuff, and it's only $100 more than a PS4 Pro, which money can play a role in what people choose. It all depends on what you're looking for. If you just want to play one game, or you're going to use it mostly for Netflix, or if you're a hardcore gamer and want the frame rates or want the best multiplayer. Now, Xbox came out with the first Xbox in 2001, which is Microsoft. Basically, they decided to go into the gaming market, and since then we've had multiple different Xboxes. You got the Slims, the 360s, the S, the One, and there's tons, just like the PlayStation. and it's built by Microsoft, so you have sort of a Microsoft interface. Mostly you can use all kinds of stuff. There's Microsoft Word also on an Xbox. So it's basically like a laptop on your TV, but you can also game. And I think this is cool how they did it, because the games you buy on an Xbox, you can also play on your PC, like a Windows 10 computer, and you only have to buy the game once to play it on either, which I think is pretty smart for them to do, and only have to pay once. Now the things inside of an Xbox One S is pretty spectacular, especially for the $500 range. So you definitely can't build a PC for $500 with what's in an Xbox One S. Because what's in an Xbox One S is an 8-core, 2.3 gigahertz, 6 teraflops. That's 1.8 more than the PS4 Pro, which is a good amount, and 12 gigabytes of GDDR5 RAM. So that's 4 more RAM, gigabytes of RAM than the PS4 Pro. So that's 40% more powerful than the Pro. And there's only $100 difference between there. And what also comes with an Xbox One S is the 4K Blu-ray player, which if you go into like Best Buy, and depending on the brand you get, it can range from $50 to up to like $200, $300 just for a 4K Blu-ray player. So it's pretty cool how this console just already has one built in, already set to go, and you can just put in a disc right away, and it just streams it. Or Netflix you can also use, but I would suggest a disc is better to use for 4K, just because it's not using internet speeds and whatnot, so you're keeping a constant frame rate, basically. And from owning a PS4 Pro and an Xbox One S, I would say the native 4K is better on the S than upscale 4K on a PS4 Pro. You can see that the upscale can only go so far into tricking it to looking 4K, because if you were to say get two TVs together with both consoles and you have the same game and you zoom in 800 times, you can see that the trees look better on a Xbox than a PS4 Pro, because there's more detail, there's more RAM, so it has more power to push out more pixels, more graphics, things like that. And the shocking thing, with the S being 40% more powerful than the Pro, it's actually smaller than the Pro. So it comes in just a box, a rectangle shape, or square, as most people would say, and it's pretty significantly smaller, I would say. When I put them both together, I can definitely fit my S closer to the TV than the Pro. It's just easier to do. It slides right underneath because it's smaller, which is very convenient, I would say. And it's pushing out 4K, so that's pretty awesome how they fit all that processing and all the equipment in that little box. The S does sell for $100 more, so that's a half of $1,000 that you're paying for a gaming console, which seems a lot for a lot of people if you're just wanting to play a game, like just like Grand Theft Auto 5. And for those people who just want to play one game, I would suggest just getting the base models, like the PS4 or the Xbox One, because right now they're really cheap, and that's a great price for them, like such as GameStop or whatnot. You can get them online for like $100 if you look really hard. The Pro is $400, so that's $100 less than the S, but the S is giving you 40% more power and a 4K Blu-ray player. So your cost difference really adds up over time, for sure. Right now, with the holidays coming up, you can definitely find discounts on the S for as low as $400. With bundles, it comes with a game or a remote, or you get discounts on it. While the PS4 Pro, I have not seen any deals on. It stays at its $400 range. So right now, if you can get the S for $400, that is a great buy. Even at $500, it's a great buy if you wanted to buy a PC and try to build it. I would definitely go with the S. Now that I've talked about the Xbox One S and the Pro, I'm going to compare them side by side with the costs and specs, such as I just did. And but going a little bit deeper into it, I would say the Pro came out a year earlier than the Xbox One S. So it had 4K games sooner, but even today's date, the S came out a year later than the Pro, but it has more titles in 4K, which I think is kind of insane because the Pro came out a whole year earlier than the S, so you would think that one would have more titles to play in 4K, but it does not right now. Xbox has done a lot of work to push out games and enhance them to get that 4K for people that spend that $500 for their console. So I think it's really, really cool how they spend that time enhancing their games and whatnot, and pushing out as much as they can. And also, backwards compatibility on the Xbox is amazing. I've used it, such as playing old 360 games. You don't have to rebuy them. You don't have to do anything. You can just put the disc right in, or you can download it off your Xbox, your new Xbox, and you can play it. Like old school games, the old school Tomb Raider, Far Cry, without having to buy a whole new game console and play it. And they come enhanced, so it's in better resolution than before. So my conclusion would be that the PS4 and the Pro is not the console to get because of the price difference, and if you're really wanting that 4K gaming, because that's what our new generation of gaming is coming to. So basically, if you're looking to get the S or the PS4 Pro, none of this matters if you don't have a 4K TV. So the first thing you want to do is get a 4K TV, because with a 1080p TV, you won't see that much of improvements. You will see frame rates improvements and a little stuff like grass, a little bit more grass in games, but you definitely need a 4K TV to take full advantage of these two consoles. So I would suggest, if you're looking to game in 4K, you definitely want a TV first that supports 4K. And definitely budget wise, a lot of people can't afford 4K right now, until the deals get better, because they are really expensive. I had to get mine on Black Friday last year, because it seemed too expensive for me, without the deal, for just a TV. So that's what I did. And for the $400, between $500, $100 difference for a 40% increase, that's like, when I think about it, it's like going from a Honda to a Mercedes. Like, it'd be 40% better, or 40% more performance with speed or acceleration, and just for 1/4 of the cost more, so $100 more. So I would think that going for that 40% more power for $100 is an easy choice, at least for me, especially when I'm paying that much money for a gaming console. I definitely go with the S. And this is why I think, until at least the PS5 comes out, that the PlayStation 4 and the Pro is behind the competition right now, when it comes to 4K and streaming and what the players want. Because you want to feel like you're in that world that you're playing. You want to feel in control. You want to have the frame rates. You want to have the best connection, no lag, the most picture. You want to feel like you're there. And I think the Xbox One S does a great job with this. And to this day, it's still the most powerful console in the world. Thank you for watching.